Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to discuss something that is a little bit off the charts when it comes to the video types that have been already uploaded on my channel. Today I am going to discuss about the Tripura Public Service Commission advertisement. Now you might wonder, advertisements have been previously discussed on this channel in shorts and in full-length videos. So what's different about this? Well, in this video, I am not only going to provide you with the information that is given on the TPSC advertisement, but I am also going to provide a very strong and harsh criticism of one of the fundamental things that is mentioned in that particular advertisement. Like every other public service commission, Tripura has also published an advertisement asking for applications to the post of assistant professor in Group A gazetted posts. From whom? That is the question. They have not asked for applications from Indian nationals. And here lies the problem. They have never specifically mentioned it in their advertisement that we invite applications from Indian nationals, but they have not mentioned that we do not invite applications from Indian nationals either. What they have done is they have kept a compulsory requirement in their notification. What is this requirement? I'll show it here to you on your screens. As you can see, this type of requirement has never been seen by me, at least in my very short and limited career in any public service commission. I have seen the public service commission advertisements of Odisha, Jharkhand, Bihar, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and many other states, and of course West Bengal. And in some cases, they do require you to know the state's language at an elementary level or at least at a middle school level. For example, if you are applying for Bihar Public Service Commission, you have to have Hindi till class 10. If you're applying for UP Public Service Commission, you have to have Hindi till class 10, and so on and so forth. And these requirements, I think, are not too unjustified, because awareness of the local language will help you connect with the students better who are coming to take their education in a government funded institute. And this requirement is not totally off the charts, though this also creates some sort of barrier, but it also creates some loopholes, especially if you are a student of West Bengal and have studied in ICSE or CBSE both schools. There is a very good chance that your second language was Hindi till class 10 or even class 12, and in that case you are eligible for all of these posts where Hindi is required, and there are many states in India where Hindi is the state language. So in these cases you get an exemption. Of course you don't get the exemption in Odisha, but that's a different story. I don't think there are many schools in West Bengal where Odia is offered as even a third language. There might be some across the Odisha border, but let's not talk about that just yet. But in Tripura Public Service Commission, they have mentioned that the applicant needs to be a permanent resident of Tripura. Now, why have they done this? Well, according to many, this is to prevent people from other states to apply to Tripura. And since Tripura is officially a part of Northeast India, they are trying to create an identity of their own. Now, while both of these points are valid, but I don't think they are acceptable under any circumstances. They have also mentioned that the candidate should have knowledge of either Bengali or Kokborok. And especially for students and aspirants of West Bengal, Tripura is that one state where we have an edge over people from other states, because we know the local language, which is Bengali. It is the mother tongue for most of us who have been born and brought up in West Bengal. But since they have introduced this requirement that you have to submit a permanent residence certificate in Tripura, this does not allow students from West Bengal to apply for these posts of assistant professor. It is here to be mentioned that there are several posts, especially in my subject English. There are 7 unreserved posts, which is a huge number if you ask me, for a public service commission for a very small state like Tripura. Even in a larger state like West Bengal, the number of UR seats in the last public service commission were just 5 for the same post of assistant professor in Group A gazetted posts. So in Tripura, since there are 7 UR seats, I consider this a huge deal and an absolutely unmissable opportunity for those who would have been eligible if not for this particular clause. Now, in this video, I am going to talk about the 3 fundamental things that are wrong with this particular thing. First is that it violates the idea of one nation, which we have been propounding since independence. We are a nation that takes pride in our unity in diversity, and this rule abstains individuals from other states, in this case West Bengal or maybe some other states, to apply for these posts, and it violates our fundamental right to apply to any job in India. Now, I understand that as a state public service commission, they have certain rules and regulations and they have certain powers. And I'm not saying what they have done is illegal. What I'm saying is what they have done is questionable, and it deserves criticism from people like us who have been trying to secure better jobs for ourselves and for the people around us. So I think it violates the one nation policy to a great extent. The second thing it does, it makes Northeast even more inaccessible to the people of the rest of India. What it does, it creates a kind of mental barrier in the minds of the people who are from other parts of India, and they look at the Northeast with more belligerence than they already previously had. It is not unknown to us that the Northeast has had a history of belligerent past, and its relationship with the rest of India is not that great as compared to, say, North India or Central India or South India or West India. So if they are doing things like this, then it isolates them and puts them in a separatist category even more as compared to what it had been up until this point, and it increases the differences that the people of the rest of India would have with the people of the Northeast, and especially with the administration and the state authorities at that particular place. The third thing that I would like to point out is a technical thing. Education in the Indian Constitution comes under the concurrent list. Now, for those of you who don't know what a concurrent list is, I would suggest you go back to your civics books in classes 7 and 8 and take a look at what concurrent list is. It is a list of things whose authority is shared by the central and state governments. And if you remember your civics classes well from your high school days, you will remember that in case of a concurrent list item, the final say has to be that of the center. And in case of higher education, if it is an item in the concurrent list, then state authority, can they really do something like this? I'm not very sure. I'm neither a person of political science nor a person of law. But my common sense says that even if they can do it technically, they really shouldn't, because it would be a misuse of the power that they have, and it would create more divisions as and how they go along. Now, this brings me to a central question. What should be the hiring policy for state public service commissions? Well, of course, state public service commissions should have a reservation quota for the people of that particular state, which I don't think exists in many states in India. If there are, say, 200 odd posts as there are in Tripura Public Service Commission's Group A gazetted post of assistant professor, which is the advertisement we have been discussing for the past few minutes, I think at least 50 to 60% of these posts should be reserved for the residents of Tripura exclusively. But the remaining 50% posts should be open to the rest of the country. And this not only applies to Tripura, but also to the other states who have been including these language barriers. And in this case, I would explicitly like to praise the work of Rajasthan Public Service Commission, because they have no such requirement of the languages knowledge, at least on paper. That is, they don't require you to have a written proof that you know Hindi. if you just know how to speak it and how to communicate in that particular language, that is good enough for you, which I think most of us already do because of our exorbitant amount of consumption of Bollywood. So I think this is the policy which most states should go for. They should look for a working knowledge of the local language, not a written proof that you have qualified some sort of exam 20 odd years ago in your life, which you may not remember at this point. So the fundamental thing that they should be focusing on is that whether you are aware of the state's local language, whether you are aware of the state's local culture, and whether you are aware of the state's overall presence and importance in the country of India. And if these things are kept in mind, then these small things, that whether you are a resident of that particular state, whether you know that particular language of that state up to class 8 or class 10, these things really shouldn't matter. Because especially if you're teaching a subject like English, where the entire class would hopefully be conducted in English, then what difference does it make whether you know Hindi or not, whether you know Odia or not? Of course, you can argue that to survive in that particular state, you need to know these languages, which I am not denying, you definitely need to. In that case, you must check whether you have a working knowledge of that particular language or not. The final point that I would like to bring to your attention is that it devalues the importance of NET as a central exam. If anyone clears the NET, then they are eligible to apply for assistant professor's post all across the country, and this hampers that right of them. And you are then required to take the Northeast State Eligibility Test, where I'm not very sure that Tripura also falls. So I think these are the problems that we need to discuss when it comes to Tripura Public Service Commission's particular latest advertisement. I have put the link for that particular advertisement down in the comments, and I think we should all send an email to the Tripura Public Service Commission's administrative body requesting them to withdraw this particular requirement, so that every one of us may apply for these posts. So I hope you liked this particular video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, hasta la vista.